to Getting Grounded, the open and honest conversation about the transition of parenthood and everything that comes along with it. The joy, the chaos, the fulfillment, the challenge, the identity shifts, the relationship changes. Let's talk about it all. Yay!
Yay!
Caitlin's here. Hello, welcome. Today we have Caitlin Wilder of Wilder Beginnings, but also so much more. You are a doula. You are a soon-to-be mom of 3, which is very exciting. I have thousands of questions on. You are just like such a relatable, amazing human. Your account is fantastic. And you also love Bravo, which not that we're going to get into because I will just stare at you blankly, but just like all around wonderful human. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. I'm so happy to be here and talk about everything but Bravo, apparently. I will.
Well, we can talk about it and I'll just pretend. Or you could like educate me on things. I'm sure there's stuff related to motherhood.
No, you know what? Listen, if you've gone this far without getting into Bravo, just keep going because it will. It's too much.
There's I don't know if I told you this. I do watch Southern Charm, but only because I lived there. And so when it started, I was living there. And my mom was like, I'm watching this show because it's like showing me where you are. And that long ago is when we got hooked. So I still watch it. So I lied. I do watch Bravo.
So I will say, I can't imagine what it must have been like to live in Charleston when Southern Charm started because the first season of Southern Charm needs to go back and be given like retroactive Emmys for the, I mean, the things that happen in that season of television, it's like, you can't script it. So were you like, did you ever see them like out and about?
All the time. All the time. The only person I've never seen out was Shep. And back then, not that he's
That's surprising
though.
Very
surprising. And not that he's not great now, but early seasons, like we loved him. My mom and I loved him so much. So always that was like the one I would have been like, oh, cool. But I've seen all the rest of them. Like when Chelsea and Austin were dating, like I would see them around all the time.
Stop!
Yeah. And Catherine. I like one time saw her in Michael's with her kids.
Yeah.
They were just people.
Catherine.
They were just people around.
I love that.
Actually, I forgot about this too. Naomi and I went to like all the same things, like the same gym, the same.
No way.
We know what's really crazy, which this part I always forget about too. When I first moved there, Madison was my hairstylist. She did my hair.
No.
Because she's from the same town as my coworker, and that back then, and she was like. My coworker was like, I have this girl who's amazing. And so I went to her. I loved her. Like, we would just chat forever.
Wow.
And then she became on the show. And I was like, wow. Now she's like Madison's like amazing.
Yeah, she's like one of the, I mean, she started because she just was Miss Pat's hairdresser. Mm-hmm. And then she was like in the background of scenes and stuff. And then Austin started dating her.
Yeah.
So are you caught up? I just watched the most recent episode last night.
I'm not caught up. Caught up. But I've started this season.
Okay. It's so good.
I know. It's always like in the beginning, it was always the same characters, and now they rotate in and out, which makes a lot of sense to me. But
it makes a lot of sense. And the people, I'm obsessed with the fact that you were like, I don't watch Bravo, and now I've transformed this already into a Bravo. This is the last thing I'll say. Southern Charm is so good this season, and what I love about the cast is they actually hang out with each other when they're not filming.
But do they?
Yes.
Because, I mean, obviously I would see some of them together a long time ago. But the thing that always made me question that is the reunion from the last one when Madison shows up and nobody knows she's pregnant.
Oh, well, Madison, I feel a little bit differently because she is married. She lived like farther away. She had a kid. Like that made more sense to me. The people that still like go out and get crazy all still hang out together.
How do you know that?
Because they post on social media all the time and they're not filming.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay. Well, I love that.
Okay, so anyway,
that was very exciting for me to hear that.
I know, I forget, right? Because it's like this one show. I don't know. I always consider Bravo like only Real Housewives, and I don't know any of them.
Yeah. No,
but there are other shows on there.
There are.
Okay, well, Bravo loving Caitlin, tell us more things about you. Tell us about your life and your parenting philosophies and, just what your day-to-day is.
That's so, I can't. All right, you got to give me a smaller question. I have pregnancy brain. I can't tackle.
Oh, true. Well, where were you born? Right, and no, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was like, that's actually perfect. I'll jump right into that.
I mean, sure, tell us that.
Well, I am born and raised in LA and still live in LA. And I feel like when I was growing up and around that time, that was not common. It's not a lot of people. And it's different now, but so many people in LA are transplants. So to meet somebody born and raised in LA, it's actually a very small town. And when you find out somebody else is from LA, you like immediately ask where they went to high school, like where they hung out, like if they did this thing and that, and if they know this person. And it's very cool. It's actually very different to be the LA that you experience when you're born and raised in LA is very different, I think, than the LA that people that move here experience. And that LA seems very difficult. And my LA is wonderful. Although I'm also like trying to move out of it. So I don't know.
Are you? Okay, wait. Because honestly, I can relate to this by some magical connection because I am totally from the East Coast. I always wanted to live in California. My cousins are born and raised in LA and now still live in LA.
How funny.
And so when I go there, but they're out in Granada Hills. Like that's where they're
the Valley.
Yeah. And so when I go there, I live there, LA. And I like went once when we were visiting like other friends, and there couldn't be more different.
Couldn't be more different.
So I totally understand what you're saying. Which part did you grow up in?
So I'm also in the Valley. My father-in-law is from Granada Hills, and my best friends growing up, my best friends in high school were in Granada Hills.
No way.
See,
Where'd you go?
That's what I'm saying. It's a small town.
It is. It is. I love it. I mean, California is just so my vibe. I don't know how I never ended up there. But then I now have this obsession with New York because I don't live there anymore. And every time I go back, it's like this itch that I'm scratching, which is their vibes are so different. But
now I know you said you're moving. Are you moving in the same area or are you moving to a whole new area?
We're moving in the same area, which moving with 2 toddlers is not a joy. Not at all a joy. It's a disaster. But we're moving in the same area for a couple more years. And then I would like to go back to New Jersey because I I'm like in human design, I'm a shores is my environment. I'm like a big beach girl. And not just, shores apparently means like bodies of water, but that doesn't so much hit for me. It's like beach.
Yeah.
So I want to live with access to the beach because also in that part of New Jersey, you can just like hop on the ferry and be in New York. So I think it's, and we have tons of friends that live there. Not that we've like made a really great community here. So it will be hard to leave, but DC's weird. It's like a weird energy. It's more expensive than New Jersey somehow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right now it's a super weird energy. That's like, it's like walking through thick air. Like the energy is so dense. It's awful.
I could not even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just, we love it. We love the people that we know, but it just feels very, all the things you can imagine and pretentious. Not that any of my friends are, but I don't know. I don't know that there's a perfect place to live, but where are you trying to move?
So I want to move down to San Diego, the San Diego area. And we were very gung-ho about it, and we were going to move this summer, but I'm giving birth at the end of May. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a horrible idea. I do not want to move with like a 3-week-old baby and then have to be like packing and selling a house while 9 months pregnant. So we've had to push it off a year, but that's the plan.
That's the goal. Yeah. Interesting. Why?
Yeah. So my parents moved down to San Diego last year. They moved down there full time and they're older. I want to be close to them. I want to be able to help them as they get older. And I just, as much as I love LA, I will also say so much of LA is who has what and who has more than you and how do you get what they have. And it's just even being at the playground and hearing parents talk about like private schools and the way they talk about it. And I just was like, I hate this. I do not like this vibe. And there's, San Diego obviously is going to have pockets like that too, but the lifestyle is just different. It's being outside. It's being in nature. It's like, those are people's priorities. And that is what I want and what I want my children to have. So that's what we're going for.
Yeah, I couldn't relate to any of that more. My parents are in New Jersey and getting older, so that's part of the driving force. But also, but I don't know that I'm going to find, it feels like a magical wonderland to avoid that somehow. And actually
Yeah.
someone I just recorded with, like right before you, is from New Orleans. It was Dr. Sarah Reardon, the Vagina Whisperer. And she lives there when is raising her family there. And she said what she loves about it is like the authenticity and the magic of like, if you're not covered in glitter walking down the street, it's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, my husband is from there too. And I was like, I forgot that like, that could be that experience for children. Like it's so hard to find that in general that I don't know that I'll find it in New Jersey. And maybe I'll get there and be like, oh, this isn't that different.
But it might be easier for you to make that when you're in New Jersey, you know?
True. Yeah. Especially the nature component. Like DC is actually full of like hiking trails and things. It has nature, but I don't know. It feels like it's still like kind of landlocked and like there's like the river, but I'm not going to jump on a boat.
I could not imagine living in DC right now.
I know. But I don't know because I say that, but like Minnesota, right, in this moment is far worse, right?
Totally.
So it's like, is anywhere safe
but it
from
is,
this?
When you think about living in DC, that is crazy that possibly every 4 years, the entire energy of your city will change.
I know. Could you imagine living here when Obama was president? That would have been amazing.
What a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Just feeling hope every day, waking up and like, this is beautiful. And then to have that change and be like, oh, I can't. That's so heavy. That's fascinating. And I wonder, is that a thing that parents talk about? Just like that, it's like not state the lack of like energetic stability. It must be so hard to parent in.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, like, I think we talk about it in the same way that you're talking about it with your friends. Like we were texting this morning about the latest stories in Minnesota. Like which is not here, but still palpable, right? So it's not, we don't talk about it in that same way. But what's interesting is when we were moving here, I never considered that.
Right.
Also, it was a different presidency, but
nobody knew how horrible it could get.
Right. Yeah. Like, I don't think we ever would have moved here. Like right now, we wouldn't be like, why don't we move to DC?
Oh, God.
I mean, we're in Maryland. We're right outside. We're not like physically in the city, but it's not, we're 15 minutes from the city.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay. Sorry for that sidetrack. But also, I will say one thing. New Orleans feels like such a cool place to live. That feels cool.
Well, so my husband lived there from college until we, so 18 to, we moved to Charleston, we were 26. So then, yes, like visiting him when we were dating was amazing. But when both of us went back with the consideration of raising a family there, like we were both like, no, this doesn't work. But then speaking to Sarah, I was like, oh, I guess it does work. It's just different. The school systems aren't great. Like you have to go to private school, at least as far as we know. And also we have a different like colored experience because his parents live there and they live in the French Quarter. So I'm like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So whenever I go, it's like kind of too much.
That's a lot.
Me. Yeah. But that's not where you have to live. Like there are other areas that are amazing. I think if we had like moved there long before kids, we probably would still live a life there, maybe. But he has a bunch of friends that still live there, and they're like not married with kids. So they're living a very different lifestyle that doesn't seem sustainable. So I don't know. We just have like an interesting perspective on all of it. Right. Yeah. But I think San Diego is definitely the vibe. We just went to one of my best friend's weddings who, interestingly, similar to you, she's born and raised in Manhattan, which is a totally different, that's rare to find. And she has gone to Burning Man like many years in a row. And she had, there was a couple there like her that she made really good friends with at Burning Man who she was like, I know you and the girl are going to get along. And we spent the whole night together. Like we fell in love and she's born and raised in San Diego. So I'm like,
oh, how funny.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to segue back into motherhood.
Sure.
Can you just be on here all day? Because I could talk to you forever.
No, honestly, I probably could.
Yeah, right? Let's do it. Yeah. We're not busy. We don't have like things to do. Okay. So you, as you said, pregnant, you're about to have baby 3.
Yes.
So there's a million questions I could ask you about that. But how are you like, I feel like I'm drowning with 2 children. Like, and you have not only already have 2 children, you have a podcast, you're a doula, you have like all your social account that is very active, but only in the best way, not in like
thank
you know, like it appears as though you're managing it all. And I do appreciate that. A lot of times you're like, here's the picture of my like kids vomited lunch on the sidewalk. Like, you know, you're obviously living our same reality, but I'm wondering like how you're juggling it all and then how, you know, and while pregnant now also.
Yeah. Well, I will say, first of all, you have twins.
Yeah.
And that is a very different experience than two children of different ages. I could not imagine having two of either of my children. Like, I just couldn't. I'm like, that would be hell on earth. And I love my children, but two of them?
I know. I think it's also like the first time. The first time is like bananas.
But imagine though if you actually have one and then you have two, because you're going to always think it was hard because it's the first time we've had a baby.
Right.
But then you have two and you're like, this is so fucked up.
Well, my husband and I are recently having this conversation. We have one friend, couple friend that happened to. And then I actually have a friend here who has Irish twins and then her third pregnancy, regular twins.
Oh,
so she had 4 under 4.
My God.
But what I deeply appreciate about her is like after she had the twins, I saw her and she was like, first time twin parents don't get enough credit because everything is like anxiety inducing and everything is crazy and stressful and it's happening all at once. And now, I mean, my kids are only 2.5, but when I look back into the newborn stage, I hated it, and which rightfully so. But my husband and I are like, we don't even know how we made it through because like there's no breaks. There's no one is napping, the other one is awake. Like you literally don't have a second. And I think at least if you've had one, all those first. So like, yes, you have two but you can like better prepare for it. You're not as like freaked out when you're like, what the fuck is this rash? Like, you know, all of that. But I think twins in general, I don't care when you have them, is an interesting thing that like, also, what's funny is especially some friends with 2 kids, like try to relate in that way, but most do not because they're like, yeah, I can't imagine twins. But parents, like the older generation or like my in-laws or my parents will be like, yeah, I mean, I remember that, you know, I had kids. It was hard. And I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea.
No idea. No idea. I had friends who were triplets, like natural triplets in high school. And I asked them, once we all started having kids, I was like, did you ask your mom like how she did it? And she was like, my mom told me she used to go outside and look up at the sky and say, why, God, why? It's like, could you imagine?
No, actually our like birth or pregnancy story is sort of related to what you're saying because we go in for the heartbeat appointment and I'm like, oh, we got pregnant kind of quickly. And so I was like, whatever, in the very first stages. And then we were walking into that apartment and I was like, oh, weird. I'm feeling like a little nervous. Like, what if there's no heartbeat? You know, like kind of had that thought for a second. But those were the thoughts on my mind. And then we go in and it takes them like a beat and they're like, oh yeah, there's a heartbeat. Oh, actually there's 2. And I just said, holy shit. And I sat there then in silence. And my husband was like, was standing right next to me and was like, this is great. You know, like I think trying to put a positive spin on it. But so I remember that as like me being upset and him being super excited. And then when we talk about it after, he's like, well, yeah, because I think maybe it's a Parks and Rec episode or something. And he's like, I was just waiting for them to be like, oh, and here's the third.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I was feeling relief. I was like, I was feeling nothing but pressure. And he's like, I was just happy they said only 2. And I was like,
oh my God.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that is relieving when you're like, how many are they going to find?
Yeah, seriously. No, and it's so true. It's not something you ever think about happening in that first appointment. You just hope you hear a heartbeat. You do not go into it thinking like, what do you mean there's 2 heartbeats?
Yeah. My husband also joked, this is like more of my like spiritual energy stuff, but he would joke forever, like throughout our day. We dated for 9 years before, and was married in between there, but before we ever had any kids. And he would always make jokes about twins. And I would get like angry. And I'd be like, please stop. You're putting that in the universe. Like, I can't handle that. Like, do not do that. And then, so I'd always be like, you're going to create it. And then right before that appointment, we, for whatever reason, we're pulling in. And I randomly tell him this story because I'd like gone to this retreat with my friend about how this woman there had 4 kids, but her last set was twins. And she's like, the twins are the best thing that ever happened to me. And I was like telling him this, like, how sweet is this story? And he's in his head thinking like, why is she telling me this? And then we walk into that appointment and get that news. So like somewhere in the ether, I knew, like always.
You knew, but also maybe he knew. And that's why he kept making jokes about it, because he was like, clearly this is something that keeps coming up for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like planting the seeds so you can have time to adjust to it.
Yeah, right. It still didn't help. I was not prepared. But then even after, we were like, if there's anybody that can handle this and is meant to, it's us. But like, still, I don't.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That
I came around quickly from the upsetness, but then, you know, and even now, like, they're 2.5 and they are the sweetest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like my daughter got sent home. Like she had to be picked up early from school because she threw up everywhere. And we get home and she's like not feeling well in the car. She's pretty quiet. And then we get inside and I'm like, well, we'll rest a little bit. We'll watch a show and then we're going to go up and try to take a nap. And she's like, oh yeah, Maddox is still at school. And I'm like, yeah, he is. And she's like, maybe I can go back to school and hug him and kiss him. But he's going to choke if he eats too much food. He has to take little bites. And I was like, are you like coaching him at school, like how to do things?
So
like,
sweet.
She's just like randomly worried about him. And just, it's like, there's nothing sweeter than when they're not fighting. There's nothing sweeter than their little bond.
That's so sweet.
It's really, really wonderful. It really is. They like take care of each other. Like when he wants water, he'll like, even in school, they tell me like he gets her water and is like, Evie, you have to drink. It's really cute.
Oh my God, I love that.
I know. So twins are really great, but you know.
Twins are great. And I also do really love a boy-sister sibling relationship. It's very sweet.
It is. I know. And he's like 5 minutes older, but so he's like the older brother.
Cute.
But it comes across that way. It's just, it's very, very, very sweet.
I love that.
Yeah. But it actually makes me think of, so I've like forever, ever always said, like from being a teenager, I was like, I want to have 2 kids. I want to have a boy and a girl. I want the boy to be older. Like when you're young and you think you can just like decide what's going to happen.
Totally.
And so I had decided that that's what I wanted forever. And then I don't necessarily remember telling my husband this, but early in our dating, my brother died. And
I'm so sorry.
and he was like 6 years older than me and we were crazy close. But so I guess I said to him at some point, like, well, I have to have more than 2 kids because one could be left alone. Like, and also I really wanted to have a big family, like cousins for my kids, like I grew up with, and they're not going to have cousins on my side, obviously.
Right.
So I was like, well, then it's going to be up to me to create this big family. But now we're like swimming in struggle and like just barely trying to keep our heads above water, which I know as they get older is going to get easier.
Yeah.
But now I sit here thinking like, well, I have that scenario. I have this boy girl. It is so perfect and lovely. And our lives are like tied up in this little bow of this family. And do I want to have more kids? Not because of that anxiety. Like, what if something happens? Because that's no energy you want to put behind that decision. But just in general, like I love being a mom. We love being parents. And also then it's just going to be crazy. And I wonder like I always said like I'd wait a while because then the twins will be a little more self-sufficient and make it easier.
Yeah.
But then you're so far out of the baby stage. Like, do you want to go back? So that leads me to your choice to have a third. And like, was that a difficult decision or was it like, no, we're definitely want more kids?
No, it was a very difficult decision. And it was difficult for everyone involved. My husband is an only child. So he was like, well, we only need 1 kid. And I was like, no offense, but like a lot of only children are weird. And I do not mean that offensively, but like, that's like a stereotype. And I was like, that's never going to happen. We're never only going to have 1 child. I have a sister that I'm really close with. So I always knew I wanted 2. And even convincing my husband to have a second was like a big thing.
That's really
so
funny.
With the third, he was absolutely did not want to have a third, was not interested. And I could not stop thinking about it. I could not. I mean, it was all day long. It was all I thought about was whether or not I should have a third baby.
Wow.
And I had similar thoughts though, like well, what if something happens to one of them? Like I do want, not there to be backup, but like I had those thoughts too. And like, Very similarly, my husband is an only child. He doesn't have any siblings. My sister has one son and won't be having any more. And I want my kids to have a big family too. So it was the same thing of like, okay, well then I have to create this big family because that's the only way that they're going to get it. And I mean, I was psychotic how much I thought about it. I was on like Reddit threads every day of like, how do you know if you're done having children? Like, do you regret having your third child? Are you so happy you had your third child? Like everybody at a Trader Joe's checkout clerk once when was there with my kids was like, oh, you got two, like a boy and a girl, you're good. And I was like, no, but I don't know if I'm good. Like, so should I have a third? Like, what do you think about having, like anybody I could talk to about it, I would talk to. And I just had this thought of like, I think if I'm thinking about it this much, I am meant to do it because there are women that know when they're done and they are very happy that they're done.
True.
And they don't question it and they feel good about it. And I had a conversation with my husband where I was like, in all seriousness, you don't want one, I want one, but whose ultimate resentment is going to matter more? Like I fear that I will resent you like forever if I don't have another baby. And I will feel like I wasn't allowed to have the family that I wanted. And I should say, we are in an environment where we can have a third, it's not like it doesn't make any sense or it's a dangerous or it's an irresponsible choice. It wasn't any of that. That's obviously very different.
Yeah.
We're in an environment where we could have a third. And I very seriously was like, I worry that I will resent you for this because it feels like I'm not getting to make a choice I want to make. And also I'm like, ultimately it's my body. Shouldn't it be like a 70-30 on the decision? Like mine weighs a little bit more because I'm the one that's like doing everything. Not to say that his opinion isn't valid and doesn't count, but when you have those real conversations, like that's a very real conversation and like way to have to figure that out. So eventually somehow I like wore my husband down enough where he was like, okay, we can do it, but I'm not like, I'm not going to like track ovulation with you and like do all of that. He was like, if it happens, it happens. But then I had to be like, okay, well, if I know I'm ovulating and I don't tell you, am I trapping you? Like it like that was how insane this experience was. But I also very much was like, I don't want you to resent me for that. Like,
right.
And I know him and I know him enough and he's such a good dad and he loves our kids so much. If I really, truly felt like this would ruin his life in some way, or he would not connect with this child, or he would like resent this child for being born. Again, that's a very different scenario. But I knew like once a baby came, he would be okay with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, our lives are chaotic and overwhelming, but I don't mind that. I like that. I like that our lives are loud and chaotic and messy. So the thought of adding another one doesn't scare me in that way. It makes me excited of like, oh, there's going to be even more. And I was thinking the other day, there's this, this is a crazy segue, but the Duggar family, they have like 19 kids and counting. They're like hyper Christian. Okay. So that's crazy. But I was like, I kind of get it because it's just so like, it's just so cool to keep like making cool people and like meeting. It's like, I think my kids are so cool. They are so weird. They're so funny. They're awesome. Like I want to keep making cool people and like seeing who else is coming down the line. Like this is so cool to me. But obviously like we're done at 3. Although I told him, I was like, I'm never getting on birth control for the rest of my life. That's not happening. So like, you're either getting a vasectomy or it's like in God's hands because I'm done. Like, that's not on me anymore. That's been on me my whole life. It can be on someone else now. But long story short, that was how we got to having a third. And it just felt like in my nature, always have been like a future stressor where I'm like, oh my God, we can't have a third because we can't afford 3 college tuitions. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, no one's going to college tomorrow. Like you have years and years and years to be able to pay for a college tuition. And just something about having this third in my brain was like, we'll figure it out. Like, it'll be fine. It doesn't have to be like perfectly aligned right now. It's okay if it's chaotic. And especially with my daughter too, her first 2 years, year and a half went by so quickly, and things get so much easier the older they get, that I'm like, with the third, it's going to go by even faster, because you can't like get bogged down in all of that. So it's like everything you felt in the first, you can't project onto a third experience, because it's just going to be so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have I convinced you to have a third?
I mean, yeah, because so it's funny that you say all of this. Like the part that really lands is the like people know they're done versus they don't. And our setup is perfect and my kids are perfect, but I have the back and forth. Like I've always kept the door open for that.
Yeah.
Except like while we were pregnant, it was like, will we have more kids? Maybe, who knows? Then they were born, and then the first like trimester and a half, for like next, fourth trimester, whatever you call it, I was like, never again, no more kids, don't ever touch me. Like it was just so hard.
Yeah, of course.
But then as soon as they hit like 10 months, I was like, yeah, we're gonna have more, And so both of us, things are so crazy. There's like never going to be a perfect time to plan for more. And so we like haven't had the conversation in a long time. And then we had like I'm going to call it a quote unquote scare, but it wasn't a scare. It was like, I went to this like energy healer masseuse person, and she told me I was pregnant. I had a thought that morning, like, wouldn't it be funny if she told me I was pregnant? Then she did. Then I go home and take a pregnancy test, and it's positive. It was not, I was not pregnant. It was like the universe just fucked with us, like fully across the board. And like totally so that I would know how I felt about it. Because then my friend reminded me that the tests I had were expired. And so I got unexpired tests, and it was negative. So like it was just this weird series of events that was like, I know. And my husband and I were both totally at peace and kind of happy with it, because the decision was made for us.
Yes.
So now that it hasn't been, we're back in the like, do we, don't we? And what's the perfect setup and all those things. But we were both happy, and that makes me, when you were talking about how much you were thinking about it, like when this energy healer is a friend of mine, and she was like, the soul is close to you. Like that's what that means. And that's what made me think for you too. The baby was probably like, no, I'm coming. Like I'm here. Just make your decision. And one of the things that it hadn't dawned on me until that moment, when we were thinking we were going to have a bigger family, I was like, wow, actually I'm relieved thinking about this, because all the other people in the world that are moms to 2 kids, it's staggered. And so when your kid goes off to college and you're devastated, you still have one at home.
Right.
If I only have these 2 kids, my rug is going to be pulled out from under me, and I'm just going to be like, who am I now? Like that. Like I can't, no, I need another kid just so I like still have, like, I can like ease into that.
Yeah.
But I'm also psychotic in that when we're talking about having this bigger family, that when my husband and I were talking about, okay, do we really want to now actively try to have a third kid, or like we also would do the not track it and see what happens situation. But if we did that, like, what would it look like? And I was like, well, I don't want to wait too long. 1, because I don't want to completely be out of this like baby phase. And 2, I don't like, not that I actually don't think women are ever too old. Like I don't subscribe to that whole mentality. Yeah. So I'm like, I feel like I could have kids whenever I want, like God willing. So not because of that, just like by choice, I wouldn't want to get to a certain point and get pregnant again. So I would rather have the third sooner than later, so that in the event I want to have a fourth, the window's open. Because the twins are already this unique bond. And then you bring in a third, that's going to be a weird dynamic. But not the third will also be at least 4 years young, or 3.5, 4 years, if like I was pregnant today, but I'm not. Yeah. 4 years younger than them. Like that's also such a big dynamic shift that like, I don't want this third kid to be the odd man out. And my husband looks at me like I'm crazy when I say these things.
But that's being a mom and being a woman. Yeah. These are the things we think about.
Exactly. And then there's obviously the financial component, which to your point, I'm future projector same way. And he thinks it's insane because he's like, how do we afford 4 children? Which like we don't, especially in the life we live now. But I'm like, we'll figure it out. And he's like, well, one of us has to consider this, Sam.
Yeah. Totally. No, I get all of that though. It's and nobody, until I was in this place, I didn't see anybody talking about how crazy of a place mentally it can be trying to decide if you're done or you're going to keep expanding your family. And it like takes over all of your brain space and like all of your energy. It's a crazy time to be a woman of having to figure that out.
I know. And it's funny that the reason I even thought to ask you this, one, is because it's obviously on my mind. But two, I have like my best friends here. We all have kids that are exactly the same age. We got very fortunate and met each other. And there's 4 of us. And obviously I have twins. 2 of the other ones already had their second child. And one of them is probably going to have her third. And then the other one, her husband got a vasectomy and she still thinks about having a third. And it's like, are we ever actually done? Like, do we ever really know if we want more or not? Like, it's just this topic that we all always talk about.
But I will tell you, I talk to a lot of people that had 2 and were like, yes, I know I'm done. And I'm so happy and confident in that. So that feeling does exist.
Interesting. I guess I probably have, I don't know if I've asked her for sure, but I have a couple friends that have 2 that I just assume they aren't going to have 3, but I don't know.
Yeah. You never know.
I don't know. So to your point about the third one going so much faster, like being a doula and being in this space all the time, and then also before you lived it and then now having a lived experience, like what do you wish you knew the first time for anyone who's about to be a first time mom? And then like how is it different from 1 to 2, and how do you think you'll parent or just think about things differently from 2 to 3?
I mean, what I wish I knew the first time, anything, everything. Like the first time mom experience is indescribable, and you can do all of the prep in the world and none of it will matter because you cannot account for how you will be feeling mentally and emotionally and also hormonally when it all happens. That's why, while I am a doula, I'm also a full spectrum doula. And I feel like so much of my passion right now is around postpartum because—
Wait, what is a full spectrum doula?
Full spectrum is birth doula and postpartum doula.
Okay. Yeah.
So, because usually when people say doula, people think birth.
Yes.
But I realized after I had my daughter that there was just no like actually realistic content for new moms that was also speaking to them as I did everything I thought I was supposed to do in my first postpartum. I followed all of the rules, the quote unquote rules. Right. I followed all of the experts on Instagram and it fucking sucked. And I was miserable and I hated it. And I felt so disconnected and I regret every single thing I did. And you don't have to make those same mistakes as like, you don't have to have another baby to get to have a good experience. You can have that kind of second time mom energy and experience as a first time mom. And here's all the things I did that helped me have that. And so I'm just so passionate about that and about trying to help first time moms have a better experience. And I get DMs from people all the time, which is amazing, but that are like, you changed my experience because you helped me relax and like ignore the things that didn't feel right to me. And it's interesting too, because in so much of social media is black and white. So it feels like on one side, there's super strict schedule, sleep training, all of that. And then on the other side, it's like free birthing. I'm in a field, my baby's nursing easy, all of that. And it's like, that doesn't meet any woman where they really are. Like so many people don't want either of those things. They want somewhere in the middle. Like they want to enjoy their lives, but they also want to feel connected to their baby. And that's really been kind of what I've been trying to share, and especially shared after I had my daughter. So 0 to 1 challenging was like 10 out of 10. I mean, the 0 to 1 transition was unbelievably difficult. 1 to 2, like a 4. And that was just because I was like, I am going to do everything I want to do. I'm going to do contact naps. I'm going to be chill about things. Like, and I also know that it doesn't last forever. That's the hardest part about being a first-time mom is you don't know that you won't always feel that way and that it will get better and easier and that will take time. But when you have a second, you're like, oh, I know that ended because I got out of that once before. I know I will get out of it again. So that was hugely helpful. And I think with my third, I'll probably do very similar things as much as I can with my second. I mean, it will be both of my kids are in school, which is nice. I could not imagine like your friend who had Irish twins, like how you manage like a 1-year-old and a newborn, especially if the 1-year-old is at home. Like that's obviously very, very different. But I really just think too, with the third, it's a lesson in letting go even more because you can't hyper focus on this one baby. You can't try to micromanage everything because you have 2 other kids that you're also trying to like keep alive and make sure they know that they're like loved and fed and cared for. So really for me, I think I'm just trying to, you know, I always am, I say I like rhythm and kind of routine way more than strict, rigid schedule. And I think that's what we'll have to do and just like see what happens. And then also know that it all goes by so fast. So like, yeah, it's going to be so hard at the beginning. I tell my husband that I'm like, what? So we're going to have a really hard year and a half. Like that's going to go by in the blink of an eye.
I know it really changes your perspective on all of that after you have them and after you get over that because time is so different now in my life than it ever used to be. And I remember that feeling exactly like my doom Google, my 3 a.m. doom Google was always, when does this get easier?
Yeah.
And like, you feel like it's going to be forever. And then when you realize even the body stuff too, like I wasn't worried about it feeling that like any changes or bouncing back. I didn't care, but your strength is so different that you're like, will I ever be able to pick this up again? Like, will that, you know, that? And then when you realize like, oh, okay, that all comes back to normal too, that I feel like having the second, you having that frame of reference is, or the second or the third or whatever, is probably like hugely impactful, and why birth order, it makes such a difference, an impact on humans in general.
Totally. Yeah. And you know, if I had 2, I will say I love my son. I think boys are amazing. If I had 2 boys, I wouldn't have a third.
I think that's fair. I always say that if I had twin boys, it would be like a totally different experience. Like I think I'd be losing it. And the part that's crazy about that is like my son is the gentlest, sweetest soul. Like this little boy is like so kind and so gentle, and he's still a boy. So he's cracked his teeth open like off multiple times. He's had stitches in the ER when he was like, I don't know, 20 months old. Like all these things that like, that's why boys are like having 2 of those to manage. Like my daughter is spunkier and fiery and just like this, she's hysterical, but she's a girl. So she's also just like more mild and also completely more coordinated somehow.
Yes. Like, no. It is so, so true. Like my son is the exact same way. He's the sweetest, most loving, he's also insane still because he is still a little boy. And my daughter similarly is like probably compared to a girl who doesn't have an older brother, feral. Like she's also crazy, but she is still a little girl. So she will just sit on my lap sometimes.
Right.
Like boys don't, like my son never did that past a certain age. Like the second he could move, he would never just sit on my lap.
Yeah.
Like that is such a difference. So I don't know that. No, I do know. If I had 2 boys, I would not
it would
have
be done it too. Do you know the gender of baby 3?
I do, but I'm not telling anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like speculating now. I'm like, Sal, I don't know. Can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
I do love like the things that you said about the things you'd remove from 1 to 2. Like some of my favorite posts that you have are like things I don't give a fuck about now, or things that like I would go back and tell myself. Right. It's most things, like exactly that.
Yeah.
And I with having 2, there was a lot of having to turn off the noise early, but even still, like you overthink it all, like just so many things that I feel like, even with my conversation with Rachel, we were talking about sleep stuff, and I was like, quote unquote, I did all the wrong things. I do all the wrong things. Like I'd pull them in my bed. I'd do all this stuff that people would tell you not to do. And she was saying how like with her third, like how she, like, you were like, oh yeah, I bring them in the bed, but I'm like I'm catching up on Real Housewives, or I'm doing whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but with your, like, I would have done that and had sanity, but I was like, is the Kindle light too bright for the baby? Like, it's all the things that you're like crazy overthinking that are like not going to have an impact. So
of course,
that's also why I feel like it gets easier. And early when they're super young, like even though it was hard every day in the beginning, I would still only cry about them getting older and time passing. And still, that's exactly how I feel. So I feel like you cherish the later ones in a completely different way.
Oh, totally. Totally. And you just realize too, like your baby is not out to get you. They're just literally a baby.
Right.
Like just doing baby things.
My friends would always talk about, because also, which I do want to talk about with you, like impact on marriage stuff, since you touched on it a little bit. But my friends would say that like the thing that they would have that would help the two of them is they would be like, it's like the baby's against us, like how it's like, oh, they're trying to kill us, because then it would like be a funny joke. Obviously they're not, but like help bond them, like we're on the same team.
Totally.
Which I just think is hilarious. It's like, this little tyrant is trying to ruin our lives.
Yes,
which, like, they're just trying to like survive.
Yeah, literally.
like, please help.
Yeah.
So in that segue with having 3 little kids, because how old is your oldest?
He's 5. He'll be 5 in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you feel a little more seasoned than me, but I feel like are still kind of in the thick of it. Like I feel like your relationship takes a big hit in this stage. Is that your experience? Do you have tips on managing?
It's very hard. After both of our kids, we definitely were in the roommate stage, but I also think that gets a bad rap. And I don't think relationships to me, a solid relationship shouldn't only be solid because you are like being romantic and going on dates once a week. To me, that's like a sign of an unhealthy relationship that you need that. Like to me, a healthy relationship is where you are in the thick of it and you don't like each other, but you still want to stick it out with this person because you'll come out of it and that's who you still want by your side when you come out of it. It's very different, of course, if you have a partner who doesn't help. Yeah. If my husband did anything I asked him to, took over my son after I had my daughter, we'll be doing that again with the older 2 when I have this baby. I think if you have a partner who isn't helpful and you feel like isn't supporting you, that is a whole different scenario and not good. But I just think we put so much pressure on our relationships and think, having a baby is supposed to bring you closer together and it's supposed to be this magical time. And it's like, no, like that's not a magical time. You're in a diaper. You smell disgusting. Your partner's chewing is going to make you want to murder them. And like, that's okay. That's normal. That's fine. And once you guys all start sleeping again, you'll get out of it. But I just think if you assume that your relationship is going to just be roommates for a while, I think it's a lot easier to manage. And there's also it's not a sign that there's like something wrong.
I think that's a really important and helpful reframe of the like, it gets a bad rap. And the part specifically also about like, you want to be with this person when you come out on the other side. Like, similarly to the kids, all of it is seasons of life. All of it is fleeting time frames. Like right now maybe isn't going to be the best part of your relationship. Like we're in the stage where they still nap a lot. So their bedtime is now kind of late. And so they like at the end of the night, like before we used to have like an hour or 2 to connect, but now we like don't really have that. And if we do,
cut those
sleep
naps.
Suffers or
you gotta cut those naps.
They're only 2.5.
But how long are they napping?
A while.
Okay, you got to cut. I don't mean like cut the nap entirely, but like cut
shorten
down.
It.
You got to shorten it.
I'm not one of the people that like wakes up your kids either. Like I don't know. I don't follow any of the quote unquote rules.
I totally get. I will only say, and I only say that because there is a very real time in toddler life where if they keep napping, they will be up until like 10 p.m. at night.
I know.
And like, I have a fine line. Like I'm the same way, but I have a fine line of like, I do not want to see you past a certain time on the clock. And like, if that means I'm going to wake you up after an hour of your nap, then I got to wake you up after an hour because I'm only a good mom until 7:30 p.m. And then after that, you don't want to see what's going to happen. And like, they're still getting a nap because it's also like, they're not 2 months old. Like they're, you're not
nap
doing
is not critical.
Well, but I mean, even I'm sure part of it is still critical, but like you know, there's at a certain point where you're just like, this is not chill anymore. Like,
I know, you're right. You had this one post that I thought was hysterical, which was like, I'm sorry, but parents with high sleep needs kids do not understand any like life with a low sleep needs kids. And the one like saving grace that the universe or God gave to us is he gave me twins that are high sleep needs.
Wow.
And so they sleep late and they nap a lot and late.
Wow.
But that's part of the sleeping late. They never were like those crazy early risers, but they woke up at like a reasonable time. They sleep so late now because their bedtime is later. And like mom loves being in the bed in the morning. So there's like, where do you choose the trade-off?
Yeah,
but my husband is already gone for work because he doesn't have a job like mine.
Yeah.
So there is like, it's not like, oh, we can have the morning together. Like, it's like, what are you forgoing, you know, in the name of what? But it is fair. Like they're not like it is past 7:30. Like they are awake past them, and it's because you're like I have so much shit to do once you're asleep.
Totally,
now. There's that.
There's a big thing too. I remember when my son was in his daycare classroom, and it was getting to the point where there were like legally in California, you have to offer a nap, and you can't like the teacher can't keep the child up. Like if they see a child falling asleep, they can't be like get up, but.
Because that sounds kind of awful.
I know. But there were all of these parents who had like 3-year-olds, 3.5-year-olds whose kids were still napping because their bodies needed it. But then again, they were up until like 10 o'clock at night. And they were like, they'll get still the same amount of sleep, but like nobody can have that. This cannot keep happening.
I mean, you're right. You are right. So this is also a probably fair point of what you're doing to keep yourself sane. But what are your tips on sanity or ways that you're making time for yourself? Because you're also like doing it all from like post to podcast to mom to doula to even before when you're like, I'm a full spectrum doula. I'm like, how are you going to someone's house and helping them in the midst of all this?
Well, that I'm not doing currently because I can't do that.
Yeah.
I will say for me, and it's very different to having a full-time corporate job in an office. I was a full-time corporate girl until my son was 2. So I did have some experience with that.
Okay.
But I just really, to me, it's like I find small moments. A huge part of who I am is I love to read. And so it's really important to me that I get to read at night before I fall asleep. Like that's major self-care to me. Every night I take a bath by myself for like 5 to 10 minutes. That's huge. Well, my son started coming
5 minutes.
Because my son has started joining me now. And I'm like, this was my only alone time, but it's so sweet. And he gets so excited to come in that I'm like, cute. Okay, that's fine. But I just, you know, I told my husband, especially because I'm pregnant and I want to, you know, be healthy. I was like, I need on Saturday mornings to go work out for an hour. Like you have to be very, I think, vocal about what you need. And that's what I've practiced doing is saying what I need out loud instead of like thinking he's going to read my mind. But it's little things. It's like I said, reading before bed. It's listening to podcasts when I get a moment that don't have anything to do with parenting, but are like pop culture and make me feel happy. I think people also
not
think
a good plug for this podcast, by the way.
This would be a perfect podcast for that. But I just mean like, you know, don't listen to some serious parenting podcast that's like giving you like that's not going to reconnect you to yourself. That's not going to leave your cup, you know, leave you feeling like you filled your cup.
True.
It's just finding small moments. I think people make self-care feel like it has to be this huge, gigantic thing. And to me, it's just the smaller things that connect me back with things I loved before I had kids that remind me I am still like a full person. And I have a friend who just had a baby and she was like, yeah, I'm just, you know, really working to like get back to myself. And I was like, you had a baby like 9 days ago. Like,
oh my God.
That's not happening right now.
Who you are is new and you like, that's the struggle too. It's like once you accept that it's just not the same, which takes a really, like, it's a hard pill to swallow. And then once you're on the other side, you're like, oh, I'm a different person. Like, it's so much better.
It's so much better. I couldn't like who I am more. And I think back to who I was before I had a baby and I'm like, oh girl, like don't know what you were doing, but like, I'm obsessed with who I am now. And I think that that's because of having my children and stepping into this and being open to finding who that person is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
but I would also say my secret is like, I'm not doing anything in my life well. I'm not doing anything in my life 100%.
It's a very helpful secret because I feel the exact same way.
Like you can't, there is no like, everything is at 50%. There's nothing that I'm
and
like.
I think, I don't know if you were different before, but like I was not that way before.
No, I was an obsessed, type A perfectionist psycho.
And once you accept that, you're like, it's so freeing. It's like,
it's so freeing.
Nothing is going great. It's all going fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm giving my best effort, and my best effort in everything now is like 30 to 50%. Right. But I'm trying, and that's what we're getting. And that's what matters. And then there's certain things I don't try. And I remember before I had my kids, the president of Bravo, and now she's the president of like everything, is a woman, Frances Barrick. And she had a son, and somebody asked a question in like a town hall about how do you juggle being a mom and having a job like this. And she basically said, and I'm sure she got this from somewhere, but it's constantly a juggle, and some balls are glass and some balls are rubber. So some balls, if you drop them, are going to break, and some will bounce. And you have to, those balls are different. Sometimes the glass ball is a work thing. Sometimes it's a family thing. And it was, meant to be inspiring. And to me, I just was like, fuck this. Like all the balls are dropping. Like I'm not catching anything.
Right.
Nothing is like, and that's okay right now. And we are doing the best we can. If there is something big, like it's why I have the husband that I have, because I know if I say to him, like, this is actually really important, I need you to like do something, he will do it. But no, I'm not doing anything well. I'm not succeeding at anything. Nothing is 100%. Nothing is like everything is like very mid-level. And that's great for me right now.
I love that. And because when you were saying it, I was like, where is she going with this? Because to me, like the only glass balls are like anything related to my kids. And I'm like, everything else can fly out the fucking window. Like I am dropping the ball everywhere else.
Well, that's when I realized also like corporate world was not meant for me, because I had a friend who had 2 kids, and she really wanted to like keep climbing the ladder. And her son had something at school, like a party or something, and she didn't go to it. She was telling me about it. And that was her choice that she wanted. And there's zero judgment on that choice, because that was important to her, was being at work that day. Right. Because what was important to her was being promoted to then provide for her family. Right. But I just had this moment in my brain of like, oh, I will never be promoted because I will never not go to that party.
Right. Same.
And that was a very distinct line in the sand. And more power to the women who are like, you know what? My career is so important to me. And again, how that all trickles down, that feeds them as a person, which then makes them a better mom. They're able to provide for their family, which then again is going all down to their kids. So that is nothing of like, oh, I can't believe she made that choice. It just was a moment realizing for me of like what I thought mattered, which was climbing this corporate ladder, which was like, that was where I got all of my value as who I was. I was like, oh, I don't give a fuck about that anymore. Right. Like, get me off this ladder.
I know. I couldn't relate more. And it is interesting to even hear that, because for me, like everything shifted, and I was like, oh, I everything I cared about, I don't care about anymore. Right. And I just assume that happens to all mothers, but it doesn't, right? It's like to your point, like people who that's important to them, then that makes them better for their family. So it just depends. It's like your entire lived experience is going to be different from the next person's.
Totally.
So, but I think that's a super, super, super helpful tip. And I could ask you for tips all day long. I could talk all day long. You are just the best. But this has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for spending this time. I will definitely be keeping in touch with you and obviously continuing to follow all your amazing tips. But where can people find you? What's coming next aside from Baby 3? So everyone can continue to get your amazing, helpful life experience tips.
Well, thank you. I would say you can find me on Instagram at Wilder Beginnings. my podcast, You're So Right, which I co-host with Rachel from Hey Sleepy Baby, that we do once a week. It's super fun. It's just like a chat podcast, no guests. We are doing nothing of importance or educational there, just having fun. But it is a really fun listen. I love doing that. So I would say on Instagram and on my podcast.
Amazing. Well, good luck. I can't wait to
you.
see the gender and how everything unfolds, and that hopefully all goes well with your move whenever you guys decide to do it. Thank you. But yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.